TRC committees, as well as other TRC members here. We go Infinity, New Earth, as well as Legend. We are Legend.
传奇战队就是最强，传奇战队，Legend生活。
Well, thank you very much. That's a little bit support they want to give me. So I'm Jason. I think most of you already know me, and I just want to introduce a short one from our presenter together with me today. First, we got a cute interviewer here, Evelyn. And we got a muscular man and handsome guy, Michael Shaw. So yeah, as you know, the treasure hunt night presentation style. We also had treasure hunt this morning earlier on, and as the title mentioned, the effective executive is actually like treasure hunt, the way you want to become an effective executive. Well, like what Barbara mentioned earlier, that I totally agree. Learning can be very fun, and I try to make it as fun as possible because just now I really thank you and appreciate for the breaks and okay. So first thing we need to know what is executive. Yeah, basically I think everyone knows executive. We've been there. We are one of the execs before. So the executive is someone we know as knowledge worker, someone that compared to the past manual worker that they do whatever the audit being to them. This time around, executive is someone that has to think themselves and get the job done. So an effective executive is all about managing oneself, which is himself first, because if he can't even manage himself, how can he manage someone else? In the book, Peter did mention before, executive can not only be the subordinate, but it could be the managers as well, but not every managers. So, how to become an effective executive? There's no signs of how to improve executive effectiveness or any naturally occurring effective executive. So there's no way that's terrible, and I wanted to be an effective person, not just an executive. So the good thing is, yeah, that can be learned, but it's not cannot be taught. It only can be learned. So we'll come back to that later on. How to learn? There are 5 major practices of effective executive is what we concluded before. So the first thing is about time. Knowing the time, where they go, how they manage to do it. Because if you want to be an effective person, you must do all the things right. But time is very important. Second thing would be contribution. What is your contribution towards the result, especially result I mentioned here. And the next thing is building on what they can do and not what they cannot do. Fourth thing, concentration. You have to concentrate on the major purpose which can contribute the best performance to the result. So that's the best thing you want to concentrate on. And the next thing, last thing also, is judge based on option, which is decision making. This is a very, very interesting topic, and I'll come into that later. So without further ado now, I will pass my mic to Evelyn, who will share a little bit more about some of the practices.
So hello, I'm the so-called cute little girl Evelyn. So I know time is very important to everyone else, to everyone in this, this room. So especially to effective executive, because they do not start their daily routine with their tasks, but instead with their time. So time is very important for them. So if we rely on our memory, we do not know how our time was spent. So consequently, an effective executive must record down his time to know where it actually goes. So on the other hand, things also get done if one dedicates non-trivial amounts of time to them. So everything needs time. Meeting needs time. When you complete a test, you need time. So even discussion, we need time too. So establish a human relationship, of course, we need time. Relationship with another knowledge workers, more time. So as mentioned, time needs to be recorded down, not based on our memory. So in this book, it gives us an example that as a CEO, he actually requested his personal assistant to write down in pen manually that how he spent his daily routine. So he was very surprised with the result because he didn't thought of he spent so much thing on his not urgent stuff or other unimportant things. So sorry, technical problem. So however, systematic managing of time implies that one gets rid of time-wasting activities if one possibly can. So do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Ask yourself all these questions. So what would happen if this were not done at all? So, because this is one of the ways to identify things that need not to be done. The secondly, what activities in my time lost could be done by someone else just as well or better. But this is also a way to move the burden onto someone else's shoulder. But do not forget that delegation assists in management too. So third, what do I do that wastes your time without contributing to your effectiveness? It's also a way to determine what and how much of time of our subordinates that we waste. Because very few of our execs dare to ask this question because we are so afraid of the truth. So much time loss actually results from poor management and also deficient organization. So malorganization, so the mal words, it comes from a French word. Mal means poor. So the malorganization means poor organization, and poor organization, of course, it means poor management. So speaking of poor management, one of the symptoms of poor management is excessive of meetings. So I'm prepared a very short scene for you about this excessive meeting. So first of all, let me introduce our exec, Mr. Casey, our super exec.
Casey, hurry up! Actually, wants to be in the meeting. Hurry up!
Casey, supply is waiting now. We have to go now. Hurry up.
Casey, needs to discuss about the sponsorship for the member state.
Very short scenes, but I hope it's interesting enough. So I admit that meetings are important and unreplaceable. But a good meeting has to be purposely directed. Meeting has to be exceptional rather than a rule. So we should not just call a meeting because it's just a habit or a rule that we have every week or every month. But instead of that, we call a meeting because that we need it and because that there's some exceptional case. Because if we have meetings all the day, then no one will get their work done. So it would be the best if there's only one item on the agenda of every meeting. So focus on that issue, that one and only one issue. So what makes an effective meeting? So first, the decision making, giving an information or getting informed, making clear to ourselves what we should be doing. So the goal of the meeting has to be thought through right before the meeting is called. So every meeting, at the end of the meeting, one of them should just go through to the opening statement to double check if the final conclusion are in line with the original intention. We might just get away way too far from our topic. So next we will come to our contribution. Next point. So most executives concentrate on their effort rather than the result. but effective executive, they focus on the result. So this will make a huge difference. So there are the three areas that an effective executive can contribute. So building direct results, mostly profits, building of value and reaffirmations, building and developing people from tomorrow. So if they focus on this good relationship good enough, and they will build up a good human relationship within the company. So because in an organization, it's all about work focus, task focus, relationship. So there are the 4 basic requirements of effective human relations. There's communication, teamwork, skills development, and development of others. So communication, sometimes we have communication breakdowns. Typical question that induces a strong bottom-up communication. So the harder the superior tries to say something, maybe the more likely that the subordinates will mishear it. He might hear what they expect to hear rather than what's being told. So if we focus on the contribution, we should ask the man, what is the best utilization of your knowledge and ability? What should we expect from you? And how can I be useful to you? So this will make communication more easier possible. So teamwork is very important. That's why we are here in TRC, right? So teamwork, the more sophisticated the knowledge work, the more is the teamwork needed. One bad apple can spoil all the good apples. So self-development, if one asks himself what is the most important contribution I can make to the performance of the organization I belong to, is actually asking himself what self-development do I need. So the next one will be the last one, the development of others. If employees demand little of themselves, they will remain silent. If they demand a good deal of themselves, they will grow to a giant structure. So the next, I will pass the mic to Jason.
Alright, thank you, Evelyn. So what Evelyn have mentioned earlier is 2 practice. The main point. The first one is the time, and second is the contribution. So I'm going to talk about this. The third one, strength. So the strength I'm talking about is not about going to the gym, putting on some dumbbell and pushing up your body. It's not that kind of strength. The strength I'm talking about is what you can do best. Everyone got their capability. Something, everyone is different. Everyone what they can do the best. So this is what I'm going to talk about now. One cannot build on the weakness of the organization. One can only build on the strengths of the organization. So you see, if the organization has weakness, this is definitely, you see, in the world, no one is perfect. In Chinese, we call this transformation. This is almost impossible. So what can we do? We focus on the strength. The strength is what we can do and what we do best over here. Talking about this, one of the main points happening in an organization is that we don't hire people because you think you got something else that you think not good to the company. So no. In the end, manpower does go. So how? The company cannot work well. So what Peter mentioned here is that you do not hire because of he got all competent, no weaknesses, no obvious weaknesses, but because of the strength. The strength that you think that can help you to contribute to the company and put on a good performance to the organization. So what I mentioned earlier, people with no weakness, they will be incompetent. And no executive has ever suffered because his subordinate was stronger than him. Because if let's say you are the executive and your subordinate is stronger than him, definitely his work can help you to ease your work and in the end contribute to the result that you desire for. Alright, so since I talked about do not hire, it's not like so how to pick the right associate. And I think quite a lot of people looking for hiring, so here's some tips for you. You do not start with the assumption that there's a job here, you have to find someone to fill in this thing. It's a little bit hard because, as I mentioned earlier, different people got different capability. How you're going to do is that maybe someone got some weakness that you think cannot work, but you think his strength is good enough to help you to contribute to your things, then you just hire him and redesign the job scope a little bit, not too far away from the original one, so that he can definitely help you contribute to your result that you desire for. So one of the symptoms that several higher in the society is what I mentioned earlier, because you don't want to hire because just then something else then you don't want to hire. Alright, talk about associate just now. So now about boss. So yeah, boss's boss. So how do I manage boss? This is a very interesting topic. So if the boss is not promoted, then you will be bothered behind him. Because you see, if your boss is bad, then you cannot promote it lah. So if your boss is fired, not likely you will be the next person, because if the performance is not so good and get fired, definitely the company is looking for someone else to replace him to contribute to a new performance or result that they desire. So in another case, what if your boss got promoted, become your boss's boss at level, then there's empty place and your contribution is very obvious. They can put you up to your boss, then you get promoted. But just one tips here, you don't tell him in a way that you hurt his feeling. Like example, you don't simply go tell your boss, "Hello boss, you're so stupid lah! I told you to leave client anyway to the customer, now customer complain, how?" If you do like this, I just gonna say, "Sorry, it's not gonna work," and God bless you. What we are talking about earlier, focus on time management, focus on contribution, focus on building strength, focus. Yes, concentration. So if there's one secret to effectiveness, definitely it's concentration. Effective executive, they do the first thing first. And what do you mean by first thing first? And I think what I just mentioned about first thing first is that all about priorities, and that's all. There are always more contribution to do, but you got limited time, so you cannot do all. The one you got to do is that you choose the highest rank to do, because that one is the priority. But how to rank it? Always ask yourself, is this thing worth doing? You're doing a task, there's so many tasks, you ask yourself, this task worth doing? In the end, you think it's not so worth, then you just move on to another task that you think is much more worth to do it. The secret of those who do so much thing successfully is only if single-minded concentration on one task at a time. Because if you concentrate on one task first, you can complete it in the best time available. Because you concentrate every single brain juice, you squeeze it all on the task. Other than just multitask, you do a bit here, do a bit there, in the end, what else you cannot complete that. How much time to assign? This is a very good question. Assign more time than expected, because you may assign 1 week to do this, but I think you might assign 1 or 2 days more to complete this thing. What I mentioned earlier, priorities and posteriorities. So what I mentioned earlier is that how to rank it so that we can focus on the task, concentration, right? What tasks to tackle and what's not. So we need to know how to forget. We need to forget some tasks, because we only are one people, we can't do everything at the same time. So, but always remember one thing, if you settle posteriorities, it's not easy, because you're giving us something and you're giving a chance to others. It will become others' priority to do it. But never mind if you think that is not so important to you. So the rules of coverage and selecting priorities are as follows. Pick the future against the past, because the past is already set, you can't do anything about it. Pick about the one that can change the future. Focus on opportunity rather than on the problem. Of course, if the problem is not so important or serious, focus on the opportunity, because it might be the next thing to help you get to the next level. Choose your own direction rather than climbing on elegant. What I mean here is choose your own direction. If you think this is the right way to do it, go on with it. But of course, it's a logical way. Aim high. Aim for something that will make a difference rather than something safe. What I mean here is you can always put higher so that you can become a better person. You always want to achieve something more. This is how you're going to do it. Is that aim higher. Don't aim for something you think 1 million sell. This one is very hard to achieve, but that is what you should aim, rather than 100,000 is enough. Because come on, that's just a very safety line. Alright, come to decision making. What I mentioned earlier is a very interesting topic, because we make thousands of decisions every day. I mean, among all of us here. Because you see, even the simple one, what to eat for our breakfast here. And should we choose to eat in Bentong or before we go to, or after we go to the Temanggung only eat in Tanjung? It's a very big question to ask yourself already. So before I continue with this decision making, I have another short scene to share with you guys. Let's pass my mic to Matt and Kevin.
Yes, hello. Yes, hello, Mr. AM Kapitan. 你好，刚刚 IA 来欠我的货啊，什么事？不借了10,000块，天哪！怎么样办？
不要担心，不要担心。今天我就是要带一个好消息给你知道。我们公司的 MD 已经决定了，做了一个很重要的决策，就是现在的 stock loss 我们就全权由公司负责，所有员工就不需要负责了。
上岗。
是啊，这是因为我们有快乐的员工，还有满意的顾客。
谢谢谢谢，
大家开心吗？
开心很开心。
Alright, I hope you guys enjoy the scene. It's really funny. Yeah, it's about decision making. So when the company make a decision to help their staff, so effective executive do not make many great decisions, but they focus and concentrate on the important work that could bring the most important and obvious results to the company. So they think about strategy engineering rather than problem solving. It's just that rather than just stop it, then leave it there, and they got the problem, try to solve it again. They think of a strategy to counter it to prevent it happen again. So there are some elements of decision-making progress. First thing, clear realization of the problem was generic and could only be solved by establishing a rule or a principle, like what we mentioned earlier. It's a new rules that because we realize there's a stop loss and many employees are not happy with it because it could be due to some other reason. I hope they're not complaining about me because I'm part of IAT. Yeah, so the new rules can help them become a much more happier employee that they no longer need to bear the stop loss. And the definition of the boundary condition of the solution. What I mean is the flaw where you have to pass it. So the main point is to get a much happier or more chi in the company. So this is the decision to do this. And throughout this, I think the decision is very, very well made. Thinking about what is right. What we hear what is right is, and I use the word acceptable, is that acceptable is only like so-so 50-70%. What is right is that it's above 90%. That's right. It will definitely bring goods to the company. Building on to the decision of the action to carry it out. Right. So if you make a decision but you don't do action, you do anything to it, then you better make a decision for right, waste of time. And lastly, feedback. We always need a feedback. Whether you are that sure about your decision, you always need some feedback. You have to trust yourself, but you need to verify it. Effective decision, you see, what Peter mentioned in the book, decision is a choice you make ultimately. It's never about right and wrong. There's no right and wrong in decision making. It's just different ways of doing things. From this different perspective, you might see different things. And it's typically a choice between alternatives which is not truly better. That is, as I said earlier, from this person, he might think this option is better, or he might think the option is better. Actually, there's no one to prove it is better. Executives must realize that it comes to any decision point with a set of preconceived notions and opinions. Our method, what we do, producing disagreement. You see, disagreement is actually very, very important in decision making because the way you bring out disagreement, which means that it's option. What I mean by option is that if you have only one choice there and no one brings disagreement, then you don't need to make any decision also. But if there is disagreement, which means someone thinks that there might be a better choice of doing it, but not sure about it yet, as I mentioned, there is no right and wrong. Disagreement is definitely to bring out a better option for you to choose and make a decision. The goal is understanding. It is only after obtaining understanding before you begin to think about who is right and who is wrong. But what is right and wrong here is not the decision is right or wrong. It's that whose point is much more valid and bring the benefits to the company. Alright, I think I've been talking a lot. You've been talking a lot. 5 major practices: time, contribution, strength, concentration, as well as decision making. Maybe too much for you all to absorb it. I will pass to my colleagues and we'll do a quick recap for you all to be an effective executive.
Okay, thank you, Jason. Okay. So, this book is written by Peter F. Drucker. Yeah, he's a very famous management philosopher. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about Peter Drucker. So, this book it emphasizes on effective executive. Effective executive with conclusion in his book. It's written.
Cannot see.
8 points. We have concluded. Learn to be effective. Develop practices for effectiveness. Concentrates your efforts, direct yourself. Focus on contributions. Manage your time. Be with what needs to be done and do what needs to be done. Exploit opportunities. Although there are so many conclusions, many points, but then he himself, he identifies few very important points for an executive to be effective, to be more effective. Okay. So I'm going to highlight just few of what he mentioned. First, he mentioned do what needs to be done. Okay, this is regarding very simple. You just need to do the right thing at the right time. Very easy. This is what you're exactly supposed to be doing. If you're not doing the right thing at the right time, then you're wasting time. Because the second point is concluded is that time is a very, manage your time. He said that time is the most valuable resource in the world because you cannot, even you have a lot of money, you cannot buy time back. When you don't do the right thing and the right thing at the right time, you cannot actually buy back with money because you have wasted a lot of time. Okay, so with time and the right thing at the right time, it comes to concentrate. Develop practices for effectiveness. Okay, every day you have to practice to think. Every single day, I must be executing something effectively. If you don't have that mindset, you won't be motivated, first of all. When you're not motivated, you're not doing something right. So, because when we are motivated, we can do something better, of course. Okay, and then it comes to desired greatness. Okay, desired greatness, it talks about confidence. When you have confidence, you can make decisions better. When you have confidence, you always think, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay? When you always think twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, again, it wastes time. So when you have confidence, when you desire for something greater, you have confidence to make the right decisions. Okay, so I can conclude. Very easy. An executive, when he needs to be more effective, he or she needs to do the right thing at the right time. Of course, he has to manage his time. And then, finally, desire for something great, to have more confidence. Okay? That is all for my part. I will pass back to Jason.
Thank you very much. So I have to close our presentation with one last sentence, which is effectiveness can be learned but cannot be taught. So you have to practice effectiveness every day. I hope this is a good learning session to every one of you. Thank you very much for paying your attention.
传
pleasure. Now without further ado, a big hand to Group New Us, and I'd like to welcome the contact for our presentation.